end the stigma. Reacts to President Tinubu's reported modified Gazette for Rivers emergency rule. IPAC orders political parties to boycott Rivers Council election. EFCC Chairman Olukoyode denies forcing GMD and NPCL to resign. NCAA suspends value jet pilots over breach of aviation safety protocols. And on the foreign scene, US and Russian presidents to meet in coming days. My name is Jude Omamegbe, and this is the news.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Warm greetings. A lawyer, Dr. Kennedy Alan Wakoma, has reacted to a viral letter indicating that President Tinubu has modified the powers of the sole administrator of Rivers State in the conduct of local government council elections. In the modified Gazette, President Tinubu also altered the powers of the sole administrator for the prompt determination of petitions and litigations arising and the likes in the emergency area. The Federal Republic of Nigeria official gazette with number 125 and dated 22nd July 2025 also suspended Section 2, Subsection 2 of Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission Law number 2 of 2018, which covers the appointment of the chairman and members of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISEC. The document also granted the power to appoint and swear in the chairman and members of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission on the sole administrator. Speaking on this, the Port Harcourt-based lawyer said the amendment of RISEC law is the duty of the National Assembly and not the president.
I think that the president will be acting beyond his powers to amend a law made by a legislative body, that is the Rivers State House of Assembly. Ordinarily, it is the National Assembly that will be making laws. If there was any need to amend any section of the RISEC law, so how would the president now amend Section 2 sub 2 of the RISEC law? You know, the whole process of these local government elections in Rivers State appears highly state-managed.
Dr. Alan Wakoma also faulted the whole process of local government election.
It's the National Assembly that would have done so. It's not for the president to unilaterally do so. You know, if the Gazette, as it's seen, if it is indeed true, what it means is that he also usurping the legislative functions of the National Assembly that we are supposed to be making law for the state under the state of emergency. Because if not for the state of emergency, if there was a need to amend the RISEC law, it's the Rivers State House of Assembly that would have done so. And that is highly unlawful.
The Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, has issued a directive to all registered political parties to boycott the August 30th council polls in Rivers State, calling the election process illegal and unconstitutional. In a letter jointly signed by IPAC National Chairman Dr. Yusuf Dantale and National Secretary Maxwell Megbudem, dated 1st of August, and addressed to the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission RISEC, IPAC warned that conducting elections under emergency rule mocks Nigeria's democracy. They argued that RISEC is illegally constituted since only a democratically elected governor and House Assembly can appoint its members, both of which are suspended under the emergency. IPAC said the sole administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibokete Ebas, was appointed to restore order, not to organize elections. Well, reacting to this, IPAC Secretary in Rivers State, Benjamin Ogbubola, tells correspondent Soibi Oruwari that political party chairmen in the state are still consulting with their national leadership over the directive to boycott the August 30th local government elections.
Party, under the leadership of Senator Nenadi Esther Usman, is not part of any coalition endorsing a non-democratic local government election, and we are not a part of it. This rape on democracy that's going on in Rivers State, called local government election under Ibokete Ibas-led emergency rule. You cannot conduct democratic elections under a non-democratic system when elections are being conducted, because you do not expect the military to respect democratic principles.
By my own estimation, that complex was worth more than 10 billion naira. There needs to be an investigation.
Apologies there for the mix-up. Meanwhile, the former spokesperson of the Labour Party in Rivers State, Mr. Gogo Wellington, has insisted that the party is standing by its earlier decision to boycott the upcoming council polls. He maintained that no member of the Labour Party was part of the coalition of political parties that endorsed the election.
The Labour Party, under the leadership of Senator Nenadi Esther Usman, is not part of any coalition endorsing a non-democratic local government election, and we are not a part of it. This rape on democracy that's going on in Rivers State, called local government election under Ibokete Ibas-led emergency rule. You cannot conduct democratic elections under a non-democratic system when elections are being conducted, because you do not expect the military to respect democratic principles.
Wellington also challenged the legitimacy of Hilda Dokubo's leadership, arguing that her faction has no legal authority to represent the party in the state.
Hilda Dokubo is just a representation of Aburi's illegality in Rivers State. And as we know of recent, the INEC has made them to eat the humble pie by making them understand that they have no legitimacy as leaders of. The INEC rejected the list submitted by the Aburi camp for the AMAC elections and for other elections that are supposed to come after the Anambra election. There is only one statutory neck in the Labour Party, that which is also led by the governor of Abia State.
In the meantime, a security analyst, Ukechi Smith-Dibia, has called on security agencies, particularly the police, to adopt strategic policing measures ahead of the August 30th local government elections in Rivers State. Mr. Smith-Dibia made the call in an interview with correspondent Emeka Otuka while reacting to concerns raised by electorates and political parties over the conduct of the polls. He said concerns raised by electorates and political parties must not be taken lightly, stressing that any breach of the law could create an avenue for criminal activities. He urged security agencies to give special attention to protecting critical government infrastructure. He said that some individuals may attempt to exploit the election period to commit crime.
Looking at the concern of most persons in Rivers State who ordinarily are supposed to be the electorate, then it means that to an extent, so many persons or some persons are not happy with the process. And when laws are not followed properly, then crime is inevitable. I think that the law enforcement agency in Rivers State should do well, strategize and position their men, not 100% on pulling units, but strategic areas, streets, roads, and where innocent persons will not be taken advantage of.
As you may know, there have been several complaints from individuals and political parties regarding the 21-day notice given for the conduct of the upcoming local government election, as well as concerns surrounding the emergence of candidates from some political parties. Moving on, the head of media, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Manzo Ezekiel, says Rivers people should first expect the state government to respond to the flood emergency before looking to NEMA for support. As you may know, the federal government, through the National Economic Council, approved 3 billion naira each for all states and the Federal Capital Territory, while 10 billion naira was approved for NEMA. Ezekiel, in an interview with correspondent Onyekachi Wosu, said River State has benefited from its intervention this year.
We are no longer at the stage of preparedness. We have commenced response activities, and even River State has benefited from some of our interventions, and we are moving forward with the intervention. So the fund is meant for intervention to support our intervention activities. River State has benefited from our response activities so far.
An environmentalist, Nemo Bassi, says the flooding problem in River State can only be solved by proper analysis and planning. Bassi said the flooding problem in River State is connected to other states and can only be solved through a central, coordinated effort.
There has to be a plan. There has to be proper analysis that requires stakeholders at every level to sit down and analyze what is the cause, what is the source of the problem, and how can we handle this holistically. We're running a system that is interconnected. So having different plans at different places would only be like, again, palliate. They won't really tackle the root cause of the problem. Even if it's the 100 billion naira given to each state, it won't solve the problem unless there's a central coordinated plan to tackle flood. We need a flood master plan nationally.
The environmentalists also faulted the approval of 3 billion naira to the state governments.
The way government have been acting. People don't have food, you share money. People don't have jobs, you say palliatives, creating jobs. What has the result been? All this rush to make it appear like we're doing something without having a really planned solution would not solve the problem. So states will get the money, of course. They may build drainages, clean gutters, and that's it. How would that stop the flooding?
In the meantime, a professor of agricultural entomology, Usman Zaka, has suggested ways farmers can protect their crops from flood damage. Speaking on Nigeria Info's Morning Crossfire, Professor Zaka, who is a lecturer at the University of Port Harcourt, said farmers should embrace what he described as modern agriculture, such as vertical and urban farming, where crops are grown in controlled environments to help prevent flood losses. Let's take a listen to him.
We cannot prevent floods, but we can do some things that can enable us. For instance, it is high time for farmers to embark on what we call modern agriculture, modern farming. We can venture into things like vertical agriculture, or what we call urban agriculture, or use of screen house, a place where everything concerning that crop is automated or is controlled, including floods. If a farmer is using an elevated platform for planting, using vertical agriculture, it will be of help to him.
Well, still to come, NCAA suspends value jet pilots over breach of aviation safety protocols. Stay tuned. news. I am Jude or Mamigbe. And if you missed the first bit of the news, need not worry. We will give you a recap at the end. But now we'll continue with our stories this afternoon with the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ola Olukoyode, has denied reports that he forced the group managing director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, the NNPCL, Bayo Ojulari, to resign. In a statement on Wednesday by EFCC spokesman Dele Oyewale, Oyekoyode refuted a report by an online portal alleging that he allegedly abducted Ojulari and forced him to resign in Abuja. The EFCC chairman demanded a retraction of the story from the online platform and a public apology within 48 hours. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has suspended, two ValueJet pilots following a serious breach of aviation safety protocols at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Now, in a statement signed by the Director, Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Michael Achimogu, the NCAA has said preliminary findings revealed that on Tuesday, the pilot commenced departure procedures from the designated bay without obtaining the mandatory pre-departure clearance. Describing the incident as a grave violation, the NCAA said it had taken immediate enforcement of action by suspending the licenses of the pilot, Captain Oluranti Ogoyi, and co-pilot First Officer Ivan Oloba with immediate effect. You will recall that yesterday, viral video showed where a ValueJet aeroplane nearly ran over veteran Fuji musician K1 The Ultimate at the Abuja airport while he was scheduled to board a morning flight from Abuja to Lagos on Wednesday. The flight crew members reportedly deboarded the singer after he allegedly violated aviation regulations. Enraged by the development, Kwam 1 attempted to stop the aircraft from taking off by standing in front of it. A trending video on social media captured the moment he was nearly struck by the plane after the pilot proceeded with takeoff, allegedly a breach of aviation safety rules. Meanwhile, the Fuji musician has denied claims of misconduct at the Abuja airport, insisting that he was a victim and not the aggressor. In a statement issued by his media aide Kunle Rashid, the musician dismissed reports that he breached aviation protocol or endangered passengers during the flight boarding process on the 5th of August 2025. The musician said the management of the airline apologized to him and even offered to fly him to Lagos on a private jet, an offer he turned down. Moving on, President of the Private School Owners Association, Yomi Otubela, has criticized the conduct of the West African Senior Secondary School examinations at night. He said, while speaking with our correspondent following the massive failure recorded in this year's examination, he said students writing under torchlight affected performances.
We could not also overrule the fact that the condition in which the examination was written in some states are not acceptable by us. For the fact that children were writing exam late into the night with candle and torchlight cannot be a standard that will allow us to have commendable results.
Otubela also blamed the sharp drop in results on poor teacher training, low funding, and lack of digital tools, especially in rural areas.
That result does not reflect the ability of some of the children. And of course, WAEC has a gateway to resolve such concern. We've encouraged our members to take into that network and ensure they apply for the visit of the marking of the children's scripts.
He urged government action, noting that 38% pass rate is the worst in 15 years. WAEC had earlier apologized, citing efforts to prevent exam leaks. Meanwhile, the West African Examination Council says computer-based testing reduces malpractice and improves performance. The head of WAEC Nigeria, Dr. Amos Dangote, stated this after recent examinations showed higher scores in CBT compared to paper test. He acknowledged concerns like power and network issues, but assured solutions exist.
As a nation, do we want malpractice to continue to thrive? If we do not want it, please encourage WAEC to continue with innovative ways of curbing malpractice. It's a plea. If we want to get it right, we have to start from education. And starting to getting it right is to ensure that hard work pays.
He also said that results revealed that objective sections prone to cheating saw declining pass rates, while essay-based CBT performance improved. WAEC urged schools and states to embrace digital exams for transparency and better learning outcomes.
I will only wish that we embrace ICT, because when we are doing exam by computer, do we need logistics? Will there be any late conduct of exam? Will there be any leakage? So I have learned my lesson that we should embrace CBT as a solution to all this.
And now the business news.
Before we get to this, let's wrap up with the WAEC story, where Dr. Dangote also pointed that WAEC's serialization method had curbed cheating despite the drop in English results in the latest WASSCE. Now to business. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, says the federal government requires 3 trillion naira to complete road projects awarded under the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited NNPCL tax credit scheme. In entertainment, actor Jim Iyke has described modern feminism as a movement that has deviated from its original purpose and now borders on being a crime. Iyke, in an interview, said that early feminist movements were crucial in addressing issues like patriarchy and gender imbalance, but the current iteration has been distorted. In sports, Sweden striker Alexander Isak has been told to train alone at Newcastle United amid his interest from him from Liverpool, while the 25-year-old also missed a family day for players, which was put on by the club. And finally, from the international scene, Russia has confirmed that U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin have agreed to meet in the coming days. It follows Trump's saying that there was a good chance he could meet with the Russian and Ukrainian leaders together in person very soon to discuss ending the war in Ukraine. Trump's deadline for Russia to agree a ceasefire in Ukraine or face more sweeping sanctions is due to expire on Friday. Well, that was the news, but before we leave, a quick recap. Today, you heard that lawyer Alan Wakoma has reacted to President Tinubu's reported modified gazette for emergency rule in Rivers State. IPAC has ordered political parties to boycott Rivers elections. EFCC Chairman Olukoyede has denied forcing GMD NNPCL to resign. NCAA has suspended ValueJet pilots over breach of aviation safety protocols. And on the foreign scene, US and Russian presidents have agreed to meet in the coming days. Well, the news was edited by Onyekachi Wosu. To reach the news team, please send an SMS or WhatsApp message to 0808 721 7215. 0808 721 7215. My name is Jude Omamigbe. Thank you for listening and have yourself a very good afternoon. Programming continues right here on Nigeria.